Good evening everybody, I hope we're all doing well. Potential technical issue there with the previous feed, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we're back on and live now. So yeah, didn't get the nod there, so yeah, apologies about that, but proves it's live as well, which is always great. So we're going to get stuck into a session tonight, which is going to be all about winter golf. So hopefully you've been back on the golf course, had a game of golf today. These are the things which I really feel like you can benefit from playing in the winter. So I've had a lot of history of playing golf in the cold winters in the UK, so these are some of the top tips which I think can help improve the game. So welcome to our newest subscribers as well to the website. I've had 6 new ladies join over the last few days, so welcome to the LLG community. And stay tuned as well for the end of the session in about 10 minutes time. We're going to be giving away a free lesson tonight as well, so we've got some exciting stuff to announce in about 10 minutes. But let's get stuck into some winter golf. So temperature's definitely dropped, so the first thing I always advise when you play in the winter is make sure you've done a proper warm-up. So a warm-up will obviously, it doesn't have to be long either, you know, we have an LLG Warm-Up which we've devised at the range with Rory Haig, who's a qualified TPI instructor and fellow PGA coach. So I'm going to talk you through the LLG Warm-Up. For the members who've been to the physical location, you might recognise this, but literally 2 or 3 minutes. If you're late, this is great just to get the body moving. So I'm going to walk you through the warm-up now. I'm going to get pretty warm from inside. But the first exercise, we get our golf posture. So golf posture is normal, and this is all about getting the upper body moving. So golf posture, and the key thing with this is to keep your hips still and just turn the upper body. Now you can do more reps than me, just while I'm demonstrating for this live feed. This is the first exercise here. So I want to do 20 seconds, just loosening up the body here. Now, the second exercise is, they're called hip twisters. This is a favourite, you know, if you're good at dancing, you're good at this move. But this is basically a skill to try and isolate the hips, independent of the chest, okay? It's quite difficult, this one. And all we do, we get engulfing posture here, club out in front, trying to keep your shoulders nice and still. We just turn the hips. Just like this, okay? We don't want to get the whole body turning, so just isolating the hips a little bit, okay? So 20 seconds of that. Then we do some wrist twists, so just getting the forearm loose. Just get on both arms, so this is a good one just to get the wrists and the forearms mobile. And this one as well, just the same thing, just get them moving. Once we've done that, we can do some nice side stretches, so club out to the top and just to the side and just hold, try not to bounce, and the same on this side here, okay? And then one of Rory's favourites as well is the lunge twist. This is great, if, you know, it's just to get the body moving, but you basically lunge down here and then you just twist to the left. So just testing the thigh strength there and just rotating either side. And again, do 20 of those, okay? And then finally, what I always like to finish with is some speed swings. So reversing your club, you've seen this before in previous sessions, reverse the club, back swing is normal, and then swoosh through. So turn back, and then swoosh. And then absolutely the same on the other side. So turn, watch the TV, and then through. Turn, and then through. So there's 4 or 5 exercises there, which if you can do just before you play golf, it'll take you 5 minutes, but I promise you, your body will be more warmed up, more supple, be able to turn, hit the ball further, okay? So that's point number 1 tonight. Don't miss your warm-up, even if you're running late in the car park, you can get that done, okay? Right, second point. In the winter months, obviously the key thing is we've got layers on, okay? So I'm going to try and replicate what sort of clothing I'd have on here. So personally, I think thin layers are better. So I've got a t-shirt, I've got my long sleeved top, got my gilet, and I've got a waterproof jacket. Okay. So straight away there, I've got 4 layers on, which is pretty normal for the winter. Sometimes 5, you know. So the key obvious question is, how do I turn more with all them layers on? Okay. And there's a couple of things I've done in the past which have really helped me. You know, thinking back to when I played in, you know, really awful conditions, snow even, hail, is making sure the tempo is slow in the backswing. So the main idea, you know, as we've done in previous lives, is to encourage the body to turn, Now that's a lot more difficult, isn't it, with more layers on. So I like to personally slow down the backswing to make sure we've got an efficient turn. And a drill which you can try at home in the carpet is get one golf ball here, a second golf ball behind, and as you take your backswing, this first part of your golf swing has got to be super slow. I think in the winter I really work on this. If this is slow, it enables me the time to get the body turning fully. Okay? If I take that back quick, you're going to see that ball go right down the front room there. And I want to try and just move that ball, so if you position it approximately a foot behind the golf ball here, I don't want you to move that golf ball further than a club length away. Okay? So try and keep it within a club length. So on the backswing here, I can just nudge that ball and then I can turn. And when I get to the top of my swing, personally in the winter, I just have the feeling that I try and turn an extra 10%. Having that thought in my mind of just turning an extra 10% just gives me that maximum rotation. So you've got 4 or 5 layers on. Practice in the garden, in the front room, on the range. A lot of women have tried this on the range, actually you can hit a golf shot. Just nudge the ball back and then hit the shot, and that'll slow your backswing down, which I think is key to the winter. Okay, tip number 2. Tip number 3, I'm going to take my jacket off before I get too warm. Right, so winter months. Now let's talk about distance, so how far the ball goes in the cold. Alright, this is a massive thing which people I think underestimate. Ask yourself the question now, if you're watching at home, how many times does your ball go over the back of the green? Okay, particularly in winter, or in fact any time. A lot of people underestimate how far the ball maybe carries. So done quite a lot of research on this, and I was amazed. Typical temperature, let's say 20 degrees, let's say you play in July, or June or May. So let's say it's 20 degrees and it drops to 5 degrees, let's say in November, December, where we are now. Straight away, just by that drop in temperature, that's about 5 to 10 yards reduction in distance, okay? Which I think is pretty big actually. So the ball speed is down, the air density is larger, so there's more drag on the golf ball, so it doesn't carry as far. So all these elements have an effect, okay? So 5 to 10 yards down straight away. So if I've got my A-time, and I make my A-time 150 in July, straight away in December, in my mind, I go down to 140, okay? Straight down, okay? And then the other things to take into effect, well, so we've got in the winter, we've got wind, we've got softer ground, so there's no roll on the ball, okay? So add them facts in as well, and there's another 5 to 10 yards as well. So if I've got, in December, I've got 5 degrees, I'm going to go down to 140, and then into wind, softer ground, I'm going to go down to 130 even. So when you're choosing your club, just be mindful of them factors that in the winter it definitely affects it, and it affects it more than people think, okay? Given the fact as well, obviously, it's difficult to turn, so our club speed might be down by 1 or 2 miles an hour. So the next tip is to assess your clubs and adapt and change it for the winter months, okay? Right, our next one, we're going to go through a real common one in the winter, which is when the ground is soft. What a real common thing I see is when you duff it into the ground or you thin it over the back, but because the ground's so soft, in the winter there's one thing we need to change, particularly with our pitching and chipping. So when we set up to the golf ball in the winter, it's very tempting to put the ball back in our stance and put the hands forward like this, which is what a lot of people do. If you're watching at home now and you recognise this setup, then just have a look at what you're doing to the golf club. So if you have a look at the camera here, so you're presenting this sharp leading edge into the muddy ground, okay? So that is going to dig straight into the mud, okay? So in the summer, you'll get away with that because it'll bounce off the hard ground and you'll be okay. But in the winter, it's just going to bury and dig into the mud. So when you're playing chipping and pitching shots in the winter, put the ball in the middle, but don't have the shaft leaning too far forward. Have it quite neutral. And then what we want to do in the winter, we really want to try and get the bottom of the club, which if you watch the bunker session, I explained about bounce on the club. You can go back and watch it if you missed it on the members area. But this is the thing we want to try and use. This is the bounce of the club. Okay. Now, when this hits the ground, this will glide. Okay, and it won't dig. So it's really important we use the bounce of the club to come through in the wet, muddy conditions, which is why your sand wedge is often a good option, because that has a lot of bounce on it. Now, if we can come through and use the bottom of that club, then that will really stop that digging, and you'll stop chunking and fatting them shots. And a good drill you can try at home in the front room is just to try and get yourself set up to the ball. Put your left arm behind your back here. Your arms are more level with your belly button and not forward. And then from there, just try a chipping action and try and feel like the bottom of the club just bruises the ground. So that sound is very gentle on the ground there, back and through. Okay, we don't want to get a leading edge coming in and that loud sound will appear. Really good on the grass, obviously, because you'll feel it. So if you've got a practice green before you go and play your golf, just have a go with that. Left hand behind and try and just get the bottom of the club interacting on the ground. You'll be amazed actually how that improves your strike. You don't want to put the ball back and hit down too much. Okay? So that's another little tip there which will work in the winter months. So, there's lots of different factors to take in. Same on the full irons as well. Don't try and put the ball too far back in your stance. With your 7 and 8 irons, that will dig it in. Play it nicely in the middle of your stance and put it forward with the long clubs. So, some little things there which you take away for the winter months: the clothing, the warm-up, the digging, and make sure your strike's better. So, if you are going out in the next few weeks, give them tips a go. Feel free to ask any questions on our forum about anything you want to know more about winter golf, but don't underestimate the distance the ball travels less as well. Really just almost, blank canvas and just reduce that distance down, and you'll carry the ball onto the green and not short. Okay. The one final point I will mention in the winter is winter rules apply. So if your ball's on a bit of wet or damp ground, you get free relief. Okay, so use it. A lot of people don't use that. So use the free relief when you can. Right, so that's about it from me. A couple of announcements. So we're reaching more women across the country. More women signing up. So I want to try and help you with your game. So what we are going to do is we're going to run a free competition, okay, for all our subscribers, and I'm going to give away 3 virtual lessons. Okay, so virtual lesson is basically you can upload a swing to me, and we'll feed back some reviews on your swing, areas to improve, and it'll be a comprehensive review on your swing. Okay, so great service which is going to provide going forward. But if you want to experience that and see if you can help your game, look out for the email that will come into your inbox very shortly with the details on how to enter. So we're going to do 3 away this week, and I'm going to announce the winners on next week's live feed and deliver the lesson virtually. Okay, so great if you can enter that. I'm back on Sunday with another live lesson, all about consistency, this one. So if you feel like you're not quite consistent, this is the one for you on Sunday. Enjoy your golf over the next few days. Have a great week, and I'll see you on the weekend.